My leading Republican opponent has promised that he, as president, would be neutral between Israel and the Palestinians. Well, let me be very, very clear. As president, I will not be neutral. Both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump have said they would maintain this Iranian deal. My view is very different. On the first day in office, I will rip this catastrophic Iranian nuclear deal to shreds.
Well, that was Senator Ted Cruz less than 2 hours ago, giving an impassioned speech at the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee conference. The Texas senator said just last week that he would use the speech to America's largest pro-Israel organization to draw distinctions between himself and GOP frontrunner Donald Trump. Joining me now, Republican senator from Texas and presidential candidate Ted Cruz. Senator, good to see you. So was that basically the distinction, you know, that Donald Trump has said he would be neutral in trying to negotiate a deal between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and you don't believe neutrality is appropriate?
Well, I think it's more than not being appropriate. Anyone that can't tell the difference between our friends and allies, anyone that cannot distinguish between the state of Israel, which is fighting to defend its citizens from terrorism, and Islamic terrorists who are murdering women and children, who are murdering Israelis and murdering Americans, if you can't tell the difference between those, then that raises real questions about your fitness and judgment to be commander-in-chief.
But here's what his defenders would say, that he's talking about a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians, not necessarily Hamas, which we've dubbed a terrorist group, but if we really want to achieve peace, how can you do it? This is what his defenders would say. How can you do it going in there already having chosen a side?
Well, for one thing, the Palestinian Authority is in what they call a unity government with Hamas. Hamas is part of the Palestinian Authority, and Hamas is a terrorist organization that celebrates the murder of innocent civilians. You know, just a few days ago, Taylor Force, an American, a Texan, an Eagle Scout, a West Point graduate, an Army veteran, was murdered by a Palestinian terrorist, and the Palestinian Authority celebrated, cheered, they incite this violence, and they actually pay compensation to the families of the terrorists who commit these crimes. And what Donald's comments about neutrality reflect is that he buys into the typical media narrative and the view of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, that there is somehow a moral equivalency between Israel and the terrorists. The barrier to peace is not Israel. Israel wants peace. The barrier to peace is the Palestinian Authority that refuses to acknowledge Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state and that continues to support terrorism. And if we're going to see peace, I would love to see peace in the Middle East. The only way to do it is not with a president treating the terrorists as if they're standing on the same level as the IDF forces fighting to keep people safe, but rather to have America stand unapologetically with Israel, and America can help broker a deal. But our allegiance between our allies and our enemies should not be confused, and Donald Trump has demonstrated no understanding of that. You know, I would note also, Megan, another major foreign policy area that Donald's knowledge is badly deficient is the Iranian nuclear deal. Both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have said they would maintain this nuclear deal. Now, Donald has said he would renegotiate it. He would come in and negotiate a better deal. Listen, anyone who says that doesn't understand the Ayatollah Khamenei, who pledges death to America. There's not a better deal with Khamenei. The only thing Khamenei understands is strength instead of weakness and appeasement. And Donald Trump has not demonstrated that he understands the nature of Islamic terrorism.
Let me ask you a question about 2016, because a report broke today that you and your campaign were or are considering a unity ticket with Marco Rubio, and actually did some polling on it and looked into it. That so far Rubio hasn't been interested in that, but that would definitely be news to a lot of Republicans and would be good news to certainly Rubio supporters. Is it true?
Listen, I read that and kind of shook my head in wonderment. It's amazing the things that reporters will write. I have not had any conversations with Marco about that. My team hasn't had any conversations with his team about that. I think the world of Marco Rubio. I think he's very, very talented. He's a wonderful communicator. He really can tell his story and weave the tapestry, paint the picture of the American dream powerfully. And I'll tell you, Megan, what we're seeing is the overwhelming majority of Rubio supporters are coming to support our campaign, and we enthusiastically welcome them, and I would enthusiastically welcome Marco's support. I think he would add a great deal to our team, and I hope he does choose to support us.
But would you rule out the unity ticket in particular? His support, of course you want that.
Listen, I absolutely want his support. I want the support of John Kasich. We are seeing...
Yeah, but you're dodging. You're dodging. Come on, tell me the truth. What's the deal? Would you consider a unity ticket with him?
The truth is I've had no conversations with him about that. I think any Republican would naturally have Marco on their short list, and you would look seriously to him as a vice presidential choice. I haven't had that conversation with him, but I would certainly welcome his support.
Got it.
And I think he would add an enormous amount to the team.
Need a quick prediction on what's going to happen tomorrow in Utah and Arizona before I let you go.
You know, I think tomorrow's going to be a very, very good day. In Utah, I'm exceedingly optimistic. We have the support. Mitt Romney announced that he's going to be voting for me tomorrow in Utah. He encouraged people in Utah and across the country to vote for Ted. He said Ted is the only one who can beat Donald Trump. And Mitt went on to say, a vote for John Kasich is a vote for Donald Trump. It's just a spoiler vote. We also got the support of Senator Mike Lee and also Governor Gary Herbert, the governor in Utah. So I think we're going to do very well in Utah. Arizona, I'm encouraged, but Arizona is very competitive. Donald Trump has a lead in the early vote, and a pretty significant lead. We are surging, and we're ahead on Election Day. And so what happens in Arizona is going to come down to turnout. If there's a big, big turnout tomorrow, then the Election Day vote could overcome Donald's lead in early vote. But it really depends on conservatives coming together. And, you know, we've got a lot of strong conservatives in Arizona supporting us, including Congressman Matt Salmon and Trent Franks and Paul Gosar. So I'm very encouraged that the strong conservatives are unifying.
Got it.
And that we're seeing the whole range of the Republican Party coming together behind our campaign, because we are the only campaign that has beaten Donald Trump over and over and over again 9 times. And we're the only campaign that can and will beat Donald and then critically go on to beat Hillary Clinton and win the general election.
Senator Ted Cruz, always great speaking with you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Megan. And don't forget to come to tedcruz.org and support us.
I know you don't mean me.
No, I would love your support, Megan. If you maxed out, we could make news. You know, you're a big fancy TV person. You can afford to max out.
Never made a political donation in my life. Not looking to start. Great to see you, though.
Great to see you, Megan.